Good morning, Americans. This is your favorite alien here on the morning of Monday, June 19th, 2023. And it's a federal holiday for the second year in a row, Juneteenth, where you're supposed to celebrate the end of slavery in 1865 on June 19th. Oh boy. How many holidays like this are we going to have? Slavery was bad. And instead of making a holiday like this, you guys should have just said, we are not responsible for the misdeeds of our ancestors and go forward and make your society better. This makes your society worse with holidays like this. But you don't understand about holidays and what they really are and what they should really reflect. Slavery is something that you got to teach your descendants about, and you don't do that. You bring up the old stuff. That is not the way to look at slavery. So, since you adopted Juneteenth in 2021, United States Congress and President Biden, since you signed the bill into law, I hereby proclaim that January 8th should be known as Emperor Norton's Day. And I know the people in San Francisco would agree with me. And you Americans are saying, what the hell is he talking about? Emperor Norton? Joshua Norton, born in England in 1818, came to the United States, was a very prominent businessman in San Francisco in the 1850s. Although in 1858, he decided to, as you say, corner the market in rice. So he bought a shipload of Peruvian rice. Somebody should have told him not to do that because you Americans buy Peruvian rice? Oh, boy. Oh, yuck. That's worse than Chinese rice. Uh-huh. Yeah. The rice that you have from China here in the United States, when you order chicken fried rice, it's not Chinese rice, okay? I come from a country that produces good rice, Hoochie Land, otherwise known as Panama. And we know rice. And Peruvian rice is, Well, what happened to old Joshua Norton was he paid 12 cents a pound for rice. Because of a little famine going on in China at the time. Well, guess what? 4 other ships from Peru showed up, and they were selling their rices at 4 cents a pound. Boy, it literally destroyed old Norton big time. I mean, his influence went down, his money went like the 1929 crash. Yeah. And therefore, he was destitute, poor guy. But in September 1859, he decided to reinvent himself and called himself Emperor Norton the First of the United States. Well, most of the people thought he was insane, crazy, nuts. But between 1859 and 1860, he went around and that people started to look at Norton, and actually, for the next 21 years in 1859, as his biographer would say, a lot of people think that Norton lived off San Francisco. It was the other way. San Francisco lived off Norton. Because San Francisco and its surrounding area, Berkeley, Coloma, in the northern part, Eureka and all those places there, uh, aligned themselves, and a lot of people in businesses. I mean, Norton became, he wasn't exactly destitute. He actually was dressed nice. He had a place to stay. He had free meals and free passages on ferries and carts, streetcars. And uh, he even issued his own money that was given tender at certain places in San Francisco. And you San Franciscans know what I mean. Norton, as his biographer would say later, it wasn't the fact that Norton lived off San Francisco. It's the fact that San Francisco lived off Norton, because they started producing these souvenirs of his likeness and cups and plates and all kinds of stuff, and selling them, and people were buying them outside of San Francisco. The United States Congress, because he made a lot of decrees in his time of being emperor, because in 1859 he called himself Norton the First, Emperor of the United States, and in 1863 when Maximilian and Napoleon III invaded Mexico, he called himself Protector of Mexico, and those were the two titles he held till he died in 1880. And for the next 21 years, he would go to the different newspapers in San Francisco and proclaim decrees and all kinds of stuff, and a couple of decrees where we should abolish the Catholic and Protestant churches and the U.S. Congress. Oh boy, was he right about that, wasn't he? Oh yeah, But he also did things and helped people, and went to different rallies for different organizations. And he had insight too. He would do manifestos, and he would go to the newspapers like the San Francisco Herald, the San Francisco Examiner, which still exists today, San Francisco Sun, and he would proclaim different things. One of the things he proclaimed that the city, the people in power in San Francisco and in the Bay Area should create a span bridge that links San Francisco and Oakland. And this was in 1867. Yeah. And a sub-tube that you could go in a tunnel and go under and make it from San Francisco to Oakland. Well, today you got those things. In 1937, the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge. And the Tonnery Tunnel opened. And the San Francisco authorities would tell you that it was the push of Norton the First that started all this way back in 1867. So you see, Americans, if you're going to do Juneteenth, a guy that you should proclaim a national holiday for being who he was. Norton the First, Emperor of the United States, 1818 to 1880. And the way Norton died was performing his duties. He was on his way to another civic duty on January 8th, 1880, when he collapsed in the corner of Grant Street and another street in San Francisco. I forget what the other street was. It wasn't called Grant Street at the time, but today it is Grant Street. And by the time he was whisked to the hospital, he was pronounced dead. But Norton still, and he told San Francisco, you should do something about your city, because if something happens, it's going to be destroyed and nothing flat. Hence, 1906, San Franciscans, remember? And you guys built your city better And you guys kind of did something similar to what Norton the First had told you back in 1875. Yes. Also, the city of San Francisco in 1934 petitioned another city if they would take the remains of Norton the First and honor him forever. And yes, Norton the First got transferred to the southern city of Coloma, California, south of San Francisco, into Woodland Memorial Cemetery. Woodland. And he's there today, and he's got his followers that still come to see him. This is your favorite alien, with today's commentary, not sitting in for Paul Harvey, but my own commentary about somebody that you're doing Juneteenth and somebody who really deserves a national holiday for what he did and what he wrote in the newspapers in San Francisco. He was a very insightful person for being insane, as people would call him. So, Norton the First holiday for his death day, January 8th, 1880. Good day.